All right, everyone. Today I wanted to talk about some really important stuff that you're going to want to do right when you hit Tier 2. And Tier 2 is going to be an item level of 600. So as you're working on your Tier 1 equipment, the second that you get to item level 600, stop working on your Tier 1 equipment. You no longer need to work on anything Tier 1 at all anymore, because getting to 600 unlocks Tier 2. And the second that you get to Tier 2, you're going to replace all of your Tier 1 gear with fresh Tier 2 gear, and that's immediately going to take your item level to 800. So if you continue working on your Tier 1 gear after you get to that 600 item level milestone, you're basically just wasting resources. So the first thing that I want to talk about that you want to do the second that you hit Tier 2 is actually why I'm in the Stronghold right now. And this would be a major mistake forgetting to get this. So immediately, like the second that you unlock Tier 2, go to your Stronghold and start learning this right away. And what you're going to want to do is just go to your management, go to your lab, scroll down to the bottom, and you're going to see it here. Once you unlock Tier 2, it's going to be under roster help, and it's these two things: increase Tier 1 honing success rate and reduce required XP for Tier 1 honing. These are going to be absolutely huge, because once you actually learn these in your Stronghold on all your alt characters in the future, it is going to significantly make it easier in order for your alts to go from Tier 1 to Tier 2, because that's going to be one of your next goals. As your main character is working on Tier 2, what you're going to want to continue doing now is working on all your alt characters, and however many alt characters you have, you're doing your daily chaos dungeons, you're doing all your daily routine stuff on your alts, and now, because your main character is in Tier 2, Tier 1 resources are no longer useful to your main character at all. In fact, you want to start funneling all of your Tier 1 resources now to a primary alt. So you want to take one of your alts as kind of like your main alt, and I know that's a little confusing, but you've got your main character that's now in Tier 2, and then you've got all the rest of your characters who are still in Tier 1. Out of all the characters that you still have that are in Tier 1, you want to pick one of them and start funneling materials over to one designated alt that is still in Tier 1, and try to get that alt now to Tier 2 as quickly as possible, because then when one of your alts is at Tier 2, you're going to start funneling materials from that Tier 2 alt to your real main character. And this is going to make it a lot easier right here in order to get your alts up to Tier 2. So this one right here, increased Tier 1 honing success rate, is going to increase your success rate, because once your gear gets to like +6 or +7, it no longer has 100% success rate. And this is going to increase it by, I believe, 20%, which makes a really, really big difference, especially in those later levels. Like me personally, I just got to Tier 2, and that +14 to +15 was absolute brutality for me. It's like a 40% success rate, and I swear I was failing like 3-4 times for every single armor before I actually hit it. And that's thousands and thousands of Guardian Stones, Harmony Shards, tons of materials. So this increases it by, I believe, 20%. So you go from 40 to 60% or something like that. It makes a really big difference. It's going to cut down the materials that your alts need in order to upgrade their gear a lot. And then this one right here, the one below it, reduce required XP for Tier 1 honing. This is going to significantly cut back on the Harmony Shards that you need for your alts to go from Tier 1 to Tier 2. So absolutely get these. It's incredibly worth it. It's like a no-brainer. One of the first things you immediately should do the second that you get to Tier 2. Have these unlocked, and make sure that you are saving all the resources that you can on your alts for one of them. And this is going to cut back the alt grind by quite a bit. So that's the first thing that you want to do. That would be a major mistake if you forget. So now I'm going to leave the Stronghold here, and I'm going to talk about other things that you want to do the second that you end up getting to Tier 2. So let's just go ahead and close out of here. Let's play the Song of Return, and I'm actually parked right now at the gear honing NPC, because what you want to do once you unlock Tier 2 is either run your Abyss dungeon, or not your Abyss, sorry, your Chaos dungeons on your character, your main character for the day. If you feel like, you know, the day that you're playing, you're going to end up getting to Tier 2, I would actually recommend waiting and saving those 2 daily Chaos Dungeon runs until after you unlock Tier 2, so that instead of getting Tier 1 resources on your main character for that very day that you hit Tier 2, you can now do those 2 daily Chaos Dungeons on a Tier 2 Chaos Dungeon and start getting Tier 2 materials, and very importantly, start getting your Tier 2 gear set. So even if you have purples from Tier 1 that you got from the Abyss Dungeon, even if they're +15, it doesn't matter. All that stuff now is going to be replaced, and you are immediately going to replace it with Tier 2 blues. These are going to take your item level immediately from 600. If all of your gear, whether it was purple or blue in tier 1, was upgraded to plus 15, you're going to be at item level 600. And immediately replacing it with blues, even if the blues are not upgraded at all, that's immediately going to take your item level to 800. So you kind of get like a boost of 200 item levels. And this is why it's really important to make sure that you are not upgrading your tier 1 gear any further than you have to. The second you hit item level 600, stop upgrading any tier 1 gear and immediately replace it with tier 2. So you can do your 2 daily Chaos Dungeon runs. You can get your gear through there. If you get unlucky, maybe you don't get all the pieces. They're generally pretty cheap on the market now. I got a lot of these pieces for like 10, 15, 20 gold at the absolute most. So get your full tier 2 blue gear set. And what you're going to want to do before you start working on your tier 2 blue equipment, very importantly, make sure you go to a gear honing NPC and transfer your plus 15 tier 1 gear, whether it's blue or purple, it doesn't matter. Transfer your tier 1 plus 15 gear over to your brand new fresh tier 2 gear. Now, I already did this and I actually upgraded it a couple of times after as well. But what this is going to do is it's basically going to give you like 1 free level. It takes your fresh new tier 2 item level 800 blues up from plus 0 to plus 1. And that might not seem like a lot. It's better than nothing. You're not going to use that tier 1 gear anymore, so might as well get something out of it and might as well get 1 free level. That's going to save you, like every piece of armor, that's going to save you 200 to 250 of the tier 2 guardian stones, the blue stones. It's going to save you some harmony, or the new shards, the life shards, because harmony is tier 1, and now in tier 2, the currency that you're going to be using to upgrade your gear, it's no longer harmony shards. It's going to save you a decent chunk of life shards. It's also going to save you a decent chunk of the leap stones for tier 2, which they're harmony leap stones for tier 1. They're the life leap stones for tier 2. So, you know, again, you're not going to use that tier 1 gear anymore. It doesn't matter if it's purple. It doesn't matter if it's plus 15. It's now basically useless to your main character because it's fully replaced with tier 2s. So getting anything out of it that you can, even if it's just 1 level and that's all the game gives you, it's still 1 free level, and that's still like 1,000 of these blue shards that you save, a couple hundred of these red shards, you know, several thousand of the life shards, and a decent chunk of the blue life leap stones. So getting something out of it is better than nothing. So also what you're going to want to do is if you have been saving some materials, there's a good chance that, like, before I even got to tier 2, I had a decent chunk of guardian stones. I had a few of these life leap stones. I had some materials to upgrade my gear. It wasn't that difficult. You're starting the grind over again. Basically, all the stuff that you did early on in tier 1, you're now going to be doing for tier 2. And so those earlier levels, they're really not that crazy. They don't take a lot of materials. You can see here, even at plus 3, if I were to upgrade this stuff, you're only looking at 200 of the tier 2 guardian stones right now for these levels, whereas tier 1, like that last level, took something like 600, 7, 8, it might have even been 900 of the guardian stones. So you're going back to the early levels where it doesn't take as many resources. It's also a 100% success rate. So if I actually fill this up right here, you'll see that if I go to gear hone, because we're below level 6, below level 7 now, we're back to 100%. So getting those early levels, it's not that difficult. You'll probably be able to knock out a few of these earlier levels really quickly, especially considering you get that first level for free by transferring your tier 1 plus 15 gear over to tier 2. And what you want to do is get to the point where really quickly you'll be able to fully replace all of your tier 1 accessories. Once you get to item level 840, which is just plus 2. Plus 2 for all of your new tier 2 blue gear is going to get you to item level 840. You're going to be able to replace all of your accessories that are probably old tier 1 accessories now. You're also going to have a penalty to tier 1 accessories now that you're not in tier 1, so they're not going to give you the same stats that they normally would. So even more important to replace your tier 1 stuff with tier 2. And you're also going to be able to get a new lifestone, which is a massive improvement. It's going to be a ton of additional vitality. I think the old lifestone was like less than a couple thousand. This new one here, almost 6,000 vitality. So you're going to immediately notice after moving from tier 1 to tier 2, your HP pool is going to absolutely skyrocket. So definitely make sure to get all these early upgrades out of the way before doing the next thing here. And this is the final thing that I'm going to leave off in this video. I know I threw a lot of info at you guys here, but the next thing is once you do all this, you're going to want to start working on your tier 2 story, which is going to be Yorn. You need 600 item level, which is unlocking tier 2 to be able to do this. And I highly recommend going through all this really quick, really early gear upgrading process stuff, because immediately, like 15-20 minutes ago, before I actually started transferring all my tier 1 stuff and upgrading, doing my early upgrading for tier 2 gear, my HP was like half of what it is, and my stats were way lower. So I would recommend taking the 15, 20, 30 minutes or so to do all this early tier 2 gearing stuff, knock it out of the way, and then end off here with going and doing your tier 2 story quest, which is Yorn. So that's actually what I'm going to end off the video on. I'm about to go start doing this. I'm going to work on it. I heard it takes a few hours, but I threw a lot of info at you guys in the video, so I'm going to leave it here, and I hope that this info helps out. So enjoy Lost Ark. I hope you guys are having a fantastic time playing the game. And if you guys like this video, if it helped out and you've been enjoying the videos, and it seems like a lot of you guys have so far, so thank you so much for all the incredible amounts of support. I really do appreciate it, everyone. Consider leaving a quick like. Consider subscribing to the channel to get notifications from YouTube. You can turn the bell on too. I don't know the whole YouTube speech. I'm not really too used to this, but you know, do all that YouTube type stuff. That helps me out, helps you out, know when new videos come out, and I really do appreciate it. Feel free to also check out the stream at twitch.tv/salt. Link in the description. It should also be popping up somewhere on the screen around here. Feel free to check that out. I'll be streaming a good amount of Lost Ark as well as some other games, and that's about it. So take care, everyone. Have a fantastic rest of your day, night, evening, afternoon, wherever you are, whatever time you're watching the video, and until next time.